Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is our third trip into our virtual land this year. So what I would like to do is draw this charcoal man. Those of you who were in class, this is Lapeer High School. Those of you who were in class this last week, you watched me do a demonstration with this guy and some charcoal. This time, what I'm going to do is do a demonstration, but we're going to be using pencil instead of charcoal. So I have a series of drawings here that we're going to take a look at when we set this up. And what we're going to do is I'd like you to go to your Google Classroom. If you go to Google Classroom, you will see this charcoal man in there. And you can print this, you just download it and you can print it and it will be fine. And hopefully you've done that already. But when you do that, what we're going to do is we're going to draw them on this side, and here you see them over here. What I have done in the past is I've done this guy with charcoal, putting charcoal down on a piece of charcoal paper, toning the paper, and then working with vine charcoal, compressed charcoal, erasers, and then also a white charcoal. But since we don't have all of that, you don't have all that at home, we're going to go ahead and do this similar to how we've done some of in the past. So what I'd like you to do here is we're going to do this the same size. So I'm going to have you take some lines and take these over. First of all, at the top, could you please put your name? Okay, this is Mr. Bolzman, again, from Lapeer High School. And this happens to be the month of February now, where we just got bounced back into virtual because of the COVID situation. And we will attempt to do some drawing here. So what I've had you do with all of these portraits in the past is I've had you put a line at the top, and I've had you put a line at the bottom, and then find the midpoint. So if you look here, the line at the top, if you would kind of continue this hat over here, like this, you could just do a little bit of a line right there. That would be the top. It's going to go off the paper some, but you know, it kind of does that. It goes off the top edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line across here for the top of the head. So it goes up above the paper just a little bit. For the line at the bottom, we're going to come over here to the chin, and you can draw a line straight across from the chin. Remember, you can hold your pencil like this. I've shown this to you many times. You can hold your pencil and you can measure the bottom of the chin by pinching your pencil at the bottom, and you can come over here and you can find out exactly where that chin is going to go to. So that works out pretty well. What I'd also like you to do is once you have a line at the bottom, here you're going to have a line at the top. We're going to then go ahead and start to draw this in. Now, with this one, if you could just put a little bit of an edge between these two drawings, just a little bit right here, just put a little bit of a margin in between them. And then you can measure with your pencil over how far this is going to go. Put just a little bit, like about a ½ inch margin on the other side too. So we're going to put this drawing right in here. So this is a line for the chin. This is a line for the top of the head. And what we've done in the past is we've taken a look at this big circle that goes around here, similar to the circle that you see on the skull. So I'm going to put this skull, this guy's facing this direction. So I'm going to put this skull under here, if I can get it lined up okay. And you can see a big circle right here. I'm going to show it with my hands. You can see a big circle with the skull. And in the front of the face, you're going to see a curved line, kind of like my hand is here. This curved line is going to be the front of the face. This will be your jawline. Your jawline will come up at an angle like this, and then up at an angle, and it comes right into the hole where the ear is here. So when you're looking at this profile from the side, those are some of the things that you're going to see. So what I'm going to do here is, now that I know where the chin is going to go, I can measure back just a little bit here from where this chin is going to go. You can do it on your drawing. This drawing is the same. I'm just going to measure this back. So his chin's going to come about right to there. That's a pretty solid point right there where his chin will go. And then I'm going to take a look up here and I'm going to put in this curve that's going to come up for his head. And it's going to come up here for his where his hat would go. There's his chin. That's where his hat would go. His hat's going to touch the outside edge. And you see this pretty big circle shape here for the cranium, for the big rounded part of his skull. So this looks like a big circle, like I'm showing you right here. The front of the face is going to come down like this. He's looking up just slightly. So you see some. And then his jawline is going to come along like this. So here's his jaw, here's his circle, here's the front of his face. Just like what we've done in the past with these. Now, from the back part where this is going to touch, his hat's going to touch right there, you can bring his neck back in and you can see just a little bit past where the chin goes here. All right, just a little bit past where the chin goes, the shoulder is going to go across. So if I draw this line straight across here, his shoulder is going to come off like something like that. He has quite a bit of thickness in here in his lower jaw and his neck. And if you look where this front comes, this front shoulder is going to come off, about this far right here from the front. So I can measure about this far from the front, and I can measure where this front shoulder is going to go. Like I said, usually when I draw this, I draw it in charcoal. This time, we're just laying it out in pencil. So this is the big shapes of all of this. I'm going to keep that line up there just for a few minutes so that you can see where the eye level line is going to go. So with this here, this is the first step. I have this pretty well all done. I have the big shape, I've got the jawline, I've got the shoulders. So that works pretty well. The next thing I want to look at, and I have another copy of this guy, is where his eye level line is going to go. Now it's a little bit deceiving here because his eye level line, if you look, looks like it's not halfway, but his head goes off the top of the page a little bit. If you take into consideration where the top of his head would go, and you look at this A, and you look at the B, you can see that his eye level line really is halfway down. So when you measure this, you want to find the halfway point between the top of the head and the bottom of the chin here. So here's the top of his head. I kind of imagined where that was going to go, right there. So you see that with my hand. Here's the bottom of his chin. So like always, what I do is I kind of guesstimate where that halfway point would be. So right now I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to measure what I think is half. Whoop, I'm a little bit low. So let's try that again. So this time I'm going to measure up a little higher. I want to measure where that halfway point is. That's pretty good. See, there to there equals there to there. So the bottom of the chin and the top of the head. So right here is where his eye level line is going to go. And I'm just going to kind of keep that line in there, right there like that. Now, once I get in his eye level line, I want to erase, I'm going to turn my paper sideways here. I want to erase this at the top because from now on that will just get confusing. And I don't want to be confusing. So now that looks a little better. Let me erase this over here too because I don't need that anymore. That was just to kind of help me get where the top of that face goes. Okay, so now I have this eye level line right here. And I know that his nose is going to come across. And I know that these other features are going to come across too. So what I'd like to do here is if you could measure straight across here for the nose. Just make a line that comes straight across. If you want to measure with your pencil from the bottom, here's the bottom tip of his nose. You can measure it like this and you can see that, yep, that's pretty accurate. That's where his nose is going to go right there. Now with this one, you could even measure in how far the nose goes from the edge of the paper. Look, I'm going to measure it. See, my thumb is right on the edge of the handout where it's gray. And I'm going to bring this down and I'm going to see that his nose is going to come right about to there. So I have the front of his face just a little bit too far forwards. This is going to angle back a little bit here. So I'm going to take this back a little bit. Whenever you're doing drawings like this, you need to estimate and guesstimate where things go. And that's all good. So here's his nose is going to come over this far, right here. That's going to be pretty good. And here's his eye level line. Is going to go right there. Now, when you're looking at his eye level line again, right here, you can see that there's a little notch right about at the eye level line, actually just a little bit above that eye level line. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to kind of draw this backwards a little bit. Since I know where the nose goes, I'm going to draw this back and I'm going to put in this notch right in here. That notch goes just slightly above, and not quite that far, just a little bit above that halfway mark, because that halfway mark right there is going to be where the eye is going to go. Here's where the nose is going to go, right there. I'm going to clean this up out there a little bit. So I can see his nose. I can see, I'm going to move this over a little closer. I can see where this eyebrow, and then look how far this eyebrow falls back in right there. It goes way back in, just like that. So here's the front of his face. Here's his nose. He's got a pretty good sized nose. This is another Renaissance man. So he has Italian looking features. And that's just fine. All right. I want to do one or two more things with this video, and then we'll continue it a little bit more later. But I'm going to probably break this up into 3 videos now that I'm actually doing it. So I'm going to take this next handout right here, where I have this angle from the nose to the chin. See, I'm lining this up with my pencil, and we've done this in class quite a few times. Line up the nose and the chin. So with this angle right here, if you have a handout like this, you can go line this up and you can move this over. You want to just keep it consistently at the same angle. Don't change your angle too much. And you can put in this line between the chin and, that's a little different. No, that's okay. Between the chin and the nose, okay, right here. My handouts, these handouts might be just I think that's what the problem is. My handouts are just a little bit different size. Yep, so I have to bring this nose out here. I'm dealing with 2 different handouts and they're cut 2 different ways. So that's what my problem is. So I'm going to bring this nose out just a little bit more now. If I'm looking at this one, I'm so sorry about that. And I'm going to bring out this brow a little bit too. The height's not going to change. The height's not going to change, but it's just set. It's just set a little bit differently. Okay. So when I look over here, I can draw it this way too. I can put in this red line right there. So that's going to be the angle of the mouth. This is going to be the angle that the mouth and the nose go. This is how far the chin comes out. The chin's going to come out just about right to there. So that looks pretty good. The nose is going to come out about right to there. So that looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to put in this chin right here at this angle. Here's where his chin's going to go. Now I can look at this distance between here. I can look at the distance. I'm going to look at it this way. Look at the distance between his nose and this chin, and I can start to put this in. Now his nose, let's clean this up a little bit. His nose is going to be rounded like this, and then it kind of goes in like that. And double check this one more time. Okay, that's accurate. Now, his upper lip, well, let's put in the mouth line. If we draw a line straight across from here where the mouth is going to go, you know that his mouth is going to go about there. His chin is going to go about there. So that will help an awful lot. Now, right here, this is going to come down. Look how far it goes back in. I think I'm going to cut that in back in just a little bit more, like that. Let me make this a little bigger now because this part is really important that we get this right. Okay, so I'm going to be looking real closely at this handout that I have over here on the top. And I'm going to be looking at my drawing too. So let's get this a little straighter. So when I'm looking here, see how this comes down like this. There's his upper lip. And look, he's got quite a frown there. This is frowning. He's kind of frowning in like that. Then if you look at his lower lip, oh my goodness, his lower lip sticks out past the upper lip. Most of the time when we've been doing these drawings, the upper lip sticks out a little bit more than the lower. This time, it's the other way around. So you can see this lower lip kind of sticks out further, almost comes to this angle right here. Then it comes in, and then it comes out and around like this. There you go. There's his lower lip. And you can see it from right there. And if you look at the negative space here, you can see that the negative space looks very much the same on both of these sides. So I'm going to take this forehead up just a little bit and angle this back. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. And you can see how that is working right there. That's looking pretty good. This is the most difficult part to do on a portrait on the front of the face, is to get that in place. Okay. Now, I want to do one more thing. We're at 1734, and I don't want to go much more for this video. I'm going to clean this up a little bit. And now what I would like to do is put in where his eye is going to go. Now, let's zoom in just a little bit again. If you look at this eye right over here, you can see that it's kind of small and it looks kind of like a pizza pie shape. I'm going to pull this over and show you how I would measure this back. I would just take my pencil, see my pencil lead, according to the side of the paper. I'm going right in that notch. And I can see that his eye is going to come back about that far. So his eye, I just put a little mark right there, is going to come back about this far, right there. Now I can go in closer and show you how that's going to work. Okay, so here's the distance. I measured it, whoops, here's the distance and I measured it off of the other one. Sorry about that. This is going to have a little curve going back. The distance here looks pretty consistent with the distance here. And then you can draw in that upper eyelid like this. If you're just drawing along with me, I'm trying to go slow enough that you can just draw with me. And then the bottom part here is going to curve out like that. So it kind of looks like a pizza pie shape. It doesn't look like a front view eye at all. And you can put in above here, you can put in his eyelid. And then below here, you can see an eyelid. It's going to curve just a little bit like that. This line here is going to come back some. And if you'd like to, you could put in, it's very tiny here, but you could put in this iris in the pupil. You could even put in a highlight if you would like. So there's his eye. I'm going to back this off now a little bit. This doesn't look completely finished because it's not. We're going to go and add a whole lot more features to him in the next video. But for today, 20 minutes is plenty to get going with this. So I am going to call this good, and then we'll continue this tomorrow for the next video. This is Charcoal Man Part 1, and I'm Mr. Bolzman, and thanks for drawing with me. Come on back, and we'll see you tomorrow. We'll keep going on. Thank you.